Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Nisha for those who are tuning in for the first time. Hey girl, hey. And of course for those who already been here, y'all already know what's up. What it do, baby boos? What it do, baby boos? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. We're back with Shop My Stash number 32. This is actually going to be number 2 for 2025 as well, so I'm super excited because I'm going to get straight to the point, you guys. I did not want to refresh my stash at all for this week because I really enjoyed everything that I picked out from last week. So let me quickly do a recap of what I picked out, what I love, and if it's anything that I did not love, which is, by the way, nothing. And of course, recap of the looks that I did do using the palettes that I did pick out. First of all, we're going to get into this Clinique foundation. This is the Clinical Even Better Serum Broad Spectrum SPF 25. I did do a wear test review on this foundation so you guys can see it, but I will give you guys a little bit more about this foundation. When I tell y'all that this foundation right here is stunning, it is a beautiful matte finish to the point it's not drying matte, but it gives you filter in the bottle. Like, I don't know what's in this egg right here. Whatever they mixed and mingled in this foundation, Clinique did a really good job with this foundation. And one thing I can say about Clinique with all of their foundation, because I have 3 different foundations and I've loved every single last one of them, but this is definitely my favorite out of the bunch. They all have skincare benefits, and I really like that about Clinique. So do not sleep on Clinique if you are someone who's experiencing maybe acne or anything texture wise with your skin, or just having some sort of problem area going on with your skin. Definitely take care of your skin. Find some skincare product that's going to work for you. But in the meantime, in between time, if you're looking for a foundation that's going to nurture your skin and not put any more damage control on it, definitely Clinique is where it's at. And I really feel like with my problem that goes on with my skin, it's always ups and downs with my skin. I have skin texture. I do tend to break out every now and then, so I do try to find things that does cover my skin, but also something I can use in the meantime to take care of my skin underneath my foundation. Of course, I think I found some good skincare products, but for this foundation, I feel like it definitely helped with my dark spots. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but skincare benefits in this foundation, and I really feel like it did help with that. So I'm gonna see by me using a different foundation if my dark spots tend to come back or whatever, but I really feel like this definitely benefit my skin. Like, it was looking amazing without makeup too. Okay, so foundation is stunning. Okay, as for the concealer, for me to go back to revisit the e.l.f. concealers, it made me see why this is still like one of my favorite drugstore concealer. The coverage of this, the way that it blends out, is my holy grail favorite concealer. I think I think this is like my 3rd tube of this concealer because I go through them very quickly. And y'all see my collection, it's pretty big. It's pretty, I got variety, you know, to choose from. For me to go back to these concealers from e.l.f., I'm telling you, do not sleep on these. If you're looking for a good matte coverage, remember black top. If you're looking for a satin but still giving you full coverage, white top. Okay, this is definitely going to be also more hydrating, and this is definitely full on matte. So just if you want to know the difference and what to use, I really feel like either or is going to be amazing. I don't think I've tried the hydrating one underneath the eyes. I think I've had, like, maybe in the beginning. I think I wasn't too sure about it, but even with me using this deep shade to contour, I can still see the shade. Like, it still gives me coverage. It's not like disappearing to where I don't see anything. Like, it still gives you a full coverage. So I just overall love these e.l.f. concealers. These will always be a repurchase in my collection. And as for the setting powders, we already know how much I love Black Radiance. Like, this has been a rotation for a cool minute, so there's no news about that. Does she go perfectly with the foundation? Yes. And as for my under eye, I don't even see it right now, but the Beauty Bakery powder, oh my gosh, stunning. I did do a review on that one as well to kind of add to the addition of the 101 series of the setting powder. And at first, I want to just say thank you guys so much for actually enjoying that series, because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna like this, if it's like old school YouTube vibes, but you guys really did appreciate and showed love on that video. So I just want to say thank you. This is definitely giving me the motivation to continue doing the setting powder series. So be on the lookout because there's more coming your way. I think I'm going to drop at least one every week, if not one every week, one every other week, depending on what other content videos I film for the month, you know. But yeah, so I already have one film, like I said, for Beauty Bakery, and then we're going to be focusing on another one from what I picked for this week. So just be on the lookout. And then my primers. Oh my gosh, I don't know why no one's talking about these primers, but these primers are absolutely stunning. First off, this Essence Blur Primer. I don't know what she reminds me of, but she reminds me of something. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if it's the Benefit Matte Primer or if it's the MAC Matte Primer, but it kind of reminds me of a high-end primer that I know I have in my collection that I tried. I just can't quite put my finger on it. But when I tell you that this inexpensive primer is stunning, it is amazing. If you have something of fine lines or even like pores, this is going to fill in those problem areas. It does have a little bit of a scent in it. So if you are a type of person who don't like scented like fragrance in their products when it comes to the face, you're probably not going to like that. But it's a very light scent to where it's not overbearing to where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this, but it's very light. This NYX Plump Primer, I don't know if I slept on this primer and did not hear the great news about this primer, but first of all, I didn't know NYX had a gripping primer. This is considered to be a gripping primer. I didn't fully test her to see if she would stick to the face, anything like that, but this right here, the way that it plumps the skin, it gives you like a youthful look. And I can't really explain it, but I thought it was going to crash with the primer, but I continued wearing this with the combo of everything. I was like, oh my gosh, like my skin is looking freaking amazing. I was so stunned. So I was like, I did not want to refresh this week, but unfortunately we have to because there's more stuff that I need to benefit out of my collection. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and go through those things really quick in a minute, but let's go ahead and do a quick recap of all of the palettes that I picked up from last week, and let's see if I actually used them and did some makeup looks with these palettes. Okay, I'm gonna scoot over a little bit so I can insert picture or video of the makeup looks if I did a makeup look for those palettes. So I did pick out a total of 7 eyeshadow palettes for last week. I did do 7 makeup looks, but here's the kicker. I did end up switching one of the eyeshadow palettes because for one, I forgot what palette I picked out for my 7th palette, but I was like, you know, I just want to go ahead and just pick another palette and just, you know, go with that. So I will get to that in a minute. So first palette that's in my palette, this was the Cosmic Brushes 'Tis the Season eyeshadow palette. I did do a tutorial using this beautiful palette. I am going to revisit this palette throughout this year because it's so much colors going on in here that I need to take full advantage of to get my neutral look out of the way. So I did do a neutral look using this palette, and I told myself the next time I go ahead and revisit this palette, we're definitely dabbling into the colors that's in this palette because the colors in here is absolutely stunning. One thing I would have to say though, I don't know if it was my base or what, because it's the same eyeshadow base that I always use, but it creased. The metallic shade definitely creased really bad on my eyelids to where I couldn't fix it. Like every time I kept reapplying, it kept creasing. So I don't know what was going on. I hope this is the same quality for the rest of Cosmic Brushes, you know, quality, because I do love that quality. But yeah, that gold shade that I used definitely creased up on my eyelids. So I do need to definitely revisit this palette again to see if the quality changed in Cosmic Brushes. I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping I just had a bad base day or whatever, but it definitely crashed, and that's the only thing negative that I had to say about that palette. I was like, but why? All right, moving on, we have the Juvia's Place Culture palette. I did a beautiful look. I want to say this is actually my favorite look I did for the week. This hands down, the palette, like I thought I had more tutorials on my channel of me using this palette, but as I was inserting and looking through like my playlist, because I always like to scan through my playlist, especially when I'm using a palette that I know I've used already on my channel. I try to like go through my playlist to make sure that I'm not using the same colors story like with the eye looks. So I want to switch up and give you guys different eyeshadow looks with the palette. So when I was going through the Juvia's Place playlist, I realized I don't really have a lot of looks with this palette, and I was just like, I thought I did, I don't know, in my mind I feel like I use this a lot, but maybe I did more looks that's just not on my channel. That's something I can think of. But yes, every time I use this palette, I'm never disappointed. But that was definitely my favorite look. She's actually going to be uploaded tomorrow because I already edited, so be on the lookout because she will be uploaded tomorrow. Next we have the Flora palette from Ace Beauty. I did another beautiful neutral look using this palette. I got so many compliments though too when I was using this palette for, I think like TikTok, because I think I uploaded like the lip combo first and then I uploaded the tutorial. But as I was uploading the lip combo, I did get asked a lot like, oh my gosh, what eyeshadow is on your eyes, like what palette did you use? And I was like, it's Ace. I love this palette. I feel like this one and the neutral one from the flower collection that Ace came out with, yeah, these two, this palette and the neutral one, is definitely my favorite. The yellow theme of this eyeshadow, like the colors that was picked and chose in this palette, it's different, it's stunning. It's like one of my favorite like yellow eyeshadow palettes. Like this color, oh my gosh, like I need to come back. I need to come back and do another look. Okay, next we have the Smoky palette from Beauty Bay. This look right here, I kind of have an if and maybe about it, and here's my point. So as you guys can see, the color story is definitely giving grays, blacks, you know. But when I did the look, I don't know if it was the shadows that I was using or maybe these undertones of these shadows on my complexion swished up a little. But as you guys can see, this turned out to be a full-on blue look. I really wanted a gray smoky look, but I got a blue look. So I was like, oh, okay. So I definitely want to come back and do some more looks throughout this year with this palette because I'm gonna get a gray look. Something about a gray that I've learned that I love on my eyes. I'm gonna use this palette again. I'm gonna get my gray look out. Okay, next is a palette that I did not use. This is the DD Signature Bloomin' Basket palette, and I think the reason why I did not use this is because I misplaced it. She fell on the side of my desk. My room is a hot mess. You already know that, like, it's under construction right now, and it's been under construction for a cool minute, but I am actually getting somewhere on cleaning this up and reorganizing it. So anywho, this fell down and I did not see her. Didn't even think to look back on my video to see what was the 7th palette that I picked out. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go ahead and grab a random palette because I was feeling very colorful. So I did not do a look using this palette. So I think I might actually keep her on rotation for this week because I do want to revisit this palette because I do love the color story of this. So I think I might actually keep her. I'm debating on the rest of the palettes, but I think I might keep her. It's the Bratz and ColourPop collection. This palette right here, I thought I was gonna really like fall in love with it, but I realized the moment I used her and started really looking at the color story and looking at the choices of what was the matte shades and what was metallics, I did not really like this palette. I mean, I like the look that it, you know, came out, but after doing that look, I started to really like analyze and look at this palette. I was like, I think this might be my least favorite ColourPop palette for the simple fact that there's not my go-to neutrals or my go-to matte shades I would have picked in this palette. Like, I think it's these dark shades that's throwing me off. If they would have put at least a good matte brown in here to kind of balance it out for someone who's around my complexion, this would have been a killer palette. But because it's not that in here, there's a lot of metallics in here and the matte shades, it's like I can use this blue, it's going to show up on me. I can use this purple, this pink, this gray, this black. Like, these matte shades are pretty, but when it comes to me choosing which matte shades I want to use, it's the aftermath of thinking, okay, what can I use to now blend out this eyeshadow? And I felt like they didn't have that as an option for me, for my complexion, for my taste of color story. I was just like, oh yeah. So of course I'm going to come back and do another look. I think I feel a little bit more better once I go in with like these pinks and purples in my crease. But I was trying to get my neutral look out using a palette. I don't know if y'all know this about me, but when it comes to a colorful eyeshadow, I try to at least get a neutral look out just to get out of my system from that palette, and then I would dig deep into the colorful shades that's in that palette. And the reason why I do that, because I feel like when people see colorful eyeshadow palettes, they get intimidated. It's like, okay, what am I going to do with all these bright colors? I'm like, you can get some neutral looks out. So I try to show those options first, and then I go into the color looks. So especially when I'm using a palette for the first time, those are the little things that I like to do. I know we did a look with the Modern Renaissance palette. This was the actual palette that I used when I was shopping my stash for that week. So this is always will be a classic, a favorite of mine. Anastasia, like the color story is just, it's stunning. Like there's nothing wrong with it. So, but yes, so that was all of the looks that I did do and the palettes that I picked out. So now it's time for me to put this stuff up, refresh my stash, and let's go ahead and pick out some new palettes, some new makeup, foundation, all that, and get into next week excitement. I'm gonna start off with my powders. I am doing things different and backwards. Yes, I'm that girl. Okay, so y'all know I'll be doing like the 101 setting powder. So I'm gonna pick on a powder that I feel like is definitely next in line to do a review on, and y'all see her. Okay, it's the CoverGirl Clean Invisible. So I'm going to be doing a review and using her for the rest of the week because I don't know, she kind of gave me mixed signals. So I'm going to see what I'm feeling can kind of like help me decide on how I really feel about this powder by the end of the week. So I'm going to grab this for my setting powder, and then for my other powder I'm going to stick with my Black Radiance because I only have like 2 like dark shades when it comes to my powder. So I've just been cool with my Black Radiance. I've been trying to go into this little sample side over here and use some of these little mini ones. So I picked up this one. I've never really heard of this brand. I think this is sold as Ulta, I'm not sure. But this is the Pro Collagen Insta Smooth Primer. So I'm going to be going in with this travel size primer. It's not even a travel, this is a sample size of this primer, and then I'm going to go in with another primer, and I'm going to be trying out finally the NYX Face Glue Primer. It's about time that I use and play this. It's been in my collection for like a good month now, since pretty much since they dropped this primer. I've had this primer and never used it, so we're going to be using her for the week. Just realized I did not get a chance to play with my Revolution blushes. Hopefully I'll get to that this week, but if not, then it is what it is. But I do want to try one of these blushes from this new brand that I discovered on Instagram, and I think I want to go in with this one. I'm a sucker for a pink blush, so I'm gonna go in with this one. This is by the brand called Amar, I think is how you pronounce it. And this right here is one of the newest like elf liquid blushes, one of the shades. So I think this is the one I was kind of like skeptical about, but I do want to try her. Hopefully I can find a good matte blush that's going to complement this one. So we're going to give this one a go for this week as well. For my highlighter, I forgot to pick up my highlighter. Highlighter, I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Stranger Things liquid highlighter. I really did like this one, so I'm going to go with this one. Not sure if I'm going to do a press highlighter because I feel like this one does really well. But I guess I'll grab this because I think this is going to be like the same shade. If I want to do a press highlighter, kind of complement that. And then for my contour bronzing shades, this is going to be my press powder. This is by Colorane. And then my cream bronzer is going to be from Milani. So these are going to be my contouring duo for the week. For my concealers, I'm going to go in with the Fenty duo for the week. I love the matte version, but I'm using both because this shade is totally not the shade for me. And then the hydrated one, I don't know, I fell in love when I first tried her, but now after using her a couple times by herself, she needs help. She's a good duo complementing one, but not something to use by herself, in my opinion. I feel like, I don't know, you know what, this is what the whole purpose of this is, to keep using products over and over to see what works and don't work with that. So yeah, never mind. And for my foundation, we're going in with a new foundation. This is from Dose of Color. So this week is kind of like a all new makeup release week for me. So this is going to be exciting and daring. Okay, a little side note. I picked out my products yesterday, which was actually Sunday. That's why you guys are seeing this on a Monday. So I picked out my products for Sunday to kind of start my week off and everything. And I don't know what happened to my intro, my video. It kind of like cut off the audio to where I was like, okay, it's kind of pointless for me to even upload this. So I had to do this over. So what I did do, I did already try these products out. I actually have them on my face right now. And I did do a get ready with me trying out new products with the stuff that I picked out for this week, so you guys will probably see that sometime this week, so be on the lookout. But I will say I did like everything that I picked out so far, but let me just go ahead and briefly go into the products one more time. So I'm a little nervous with this foundation for the rest of the week because it is not my color. I think I kind of adjusted and fixed it right now to where you kind of can see that it's decent, but I'm just still nervous to see how it's going to perform for the rest of the week. As for the primer, I already know I'm going to love this. I see why this gets sold out so many times in the store. Like, this might be like the #1 primer NYX have on the market. Like, this was a true gripping primer, so I get to see how it's going to perform throughout the day, throughout the week, and you know, outdoors and everything. So I'm excited to continue using this, but this right here, I think she's stunning. But as for the rest of the products, you guys will hear more about that when I go ahead and upload this look. And of course, when I do more tutorials, I'll be using the products that I use for this week. But now let's get into the fun and funky part, and that is the eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to be using for this week. Oh, and by the way, the reason why I did not pick out that many blushes for this week and only that one from Amar, or whatever you pronounce it, and that's because I wanted to revisit my Crown Case blush palette, or blush binders, what this is called. This right here has 3 pages of blushes. If I'm not mistaken, I think it had a total of 18 blushes or 16 blushes. 18 different shades of blushes in here. So I am going to probably be revisiting this throughout the month, along with like other blushes and stuff you guys will see from Shop My Stash. But I do want to eventually try every single blush shade that's in this binder. So if you guys follow me on TikTok, you guys are going to see that. But of course, I will make sure that I insert those in my makeup tutorials as well. But yeah, I do want to eventually get through every single blush shade in here. So my plan is to at least go through, I want to say for the weeks, to at least try at 3 blushes. I think that's enough, so that way I can use my other blushes that I have in my collection. So yeah, I just want to point that out. If you guys see why I only picked that one blush, it's because of this. All right, now for the eyeshadow palettes, I really feel like this week is going to be a neutral week. And the reason why I kind of purposely picked out the neutral palettes is because, first of all, the kids went back to school for this week, so now I got to get back into the routine of me filming content. And I think before they go to school, so that way I can get my filming done. Like, I still haven't figured that out, but I figured me trying to do like neutral looks to get out the door, get the kids to school, would be more easier for me. So I was like, let's get back into the routine of doing makeup contents before taking the kids to school, because I had definitely got very comfortable and used to the kids being at home and filming whenever I wanted to. But the fun is over with. The kids gotta go back to school, so we're back on an actual routine and a program. So for the palettes for this week, I picked out the 18CT. This is the Matte Essential from Morphe. I have not tried this palette out, so this is definitely going to be a new palette for me to try out. Here is what the color story looks like. It's definitely giving off grays and browns, so hopefully I can get a gray look using this palette. One thing I did tell myself is every week I have so many eyeshadow palettes, new ones too that I haven't tried, to at least have 1 to 2 new palettes that I haven't tried that's in my collection on my weekly refresh. So here is one of them. The next one that I just literally got a couple of days ago, this is going to be the very new eyeshadow from Elf Cosmetics. They came out with a new 10-pan eyeshadow palette, and I just love overall the color story. I feel like I haven't had a Elf palette like this. Like, I've tried like the trio ones, or maybe like a special collection one. I feel like they haven't made those in a while. So when I seen that they came out with a new palette, I was like, Elf, y'all coming out with eyeshadows again? Okay. So I got this along with another one. You guys will probably see that in my vlog. Yeah, but I bought a couple of new things from Elf too that I was eager to try this week. But I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to save that for next week, because I think I want to make next week, especially when it comes down to the face, I think I'm going to make it a full face Elf week. Like, that's what I'm feeling like. I don't know if it's going to be true, but that's what I'm feeling, because I got so many new Elf products. But then again, maybe I'll try sometime this week as well of me just trying a full face of Elf products. I don't know. Y'all let me know if y'all like to see a full week of me trying the full e.l.f. because there's a lot of e.l.f. products to try, or would you guys just like to see a one-on-one video? Next, I have one of my favorite palettes from Glamlight. This is the Wine palette. I love this palette because of the purple shades that was chosen in this eyeshadow palette. It is one of my favorite purple palettes. So yes, I will be doing a purple look using this palette. So I got some color looks just in case I got time to do some makeup looks. Like I got time to do some stuff, you know. All right, next I have my ColourPop in Naruto palette, and this is what this palette looks like. The color story is amazing. I think I did like one look using this eyeshadow palette and it was like a neutral smoky eye. So now I get to dib and dab into the colorful eyeshadow. So, and I forgot who won. I don't remember her name, but I did let her know in the comments. I asked you guys what brand do I have the most eyeshadow palettes from, and only one person got it right. I was really surprised, but a lot of you guys said Juvia's Place. I was like, no, like you gotta think Juvia's Place do have a lot of palettes, but I don't have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of palettes from Juvia's Place, but it's not the main brand. And I thought you guys were going to get this because this is a brand that comes out with a lot of eyeshadow palettes like every single week. Well, at least I feel like they calmed down now, but it was a point to where they came out like with a new eyeshadow palette like every week, and that was ColourPop. I was the girl who joined on every single new release from ColourPop. So the brand that I have the most eyeshadow palettes from is going to be ColourPop. I think the last time I counted, I had a total of 60 eyeshadows from ColourPop. Yes, I know. So you guys will see a ColourPop palette every single week because I have so many palettes from ColourPop. I just want to point that out. If you guys see a lot of ColourPop palette, that's because I have too many eyeshadow palettes from ColourPop, and it would be on rotation every week. Okay. So next I have the Hank and Henry. This is the Baby Blues palette. I feel like I've done a look using this one. I just can't remember. Oh no, I didn't, because if this is in here, that means I did not use this palette. So this is considered to be a new palette as well. So I have 3 new palettes that I haven't tried that's in my weekly refresh for this week. Next I have the El Maquillage palette. This is the actual eyeshadow palette I have on my eyes right now that you guys will see the tutorial later on this week. This is not a new palette. I feel like I've used this before. I can't remember because I have 2 El Maquillage palettes and I think I've used this one before. And I'm going to say I did, but yeah. So this is not a new palette, but you know, something I wanted to revisit. This is definitely giving more neutral, mature vibes because the eyeshadow quality in here is so soft. Even with my heavy pigmentation base, like the shadows, there's no pigmentation in these at all. It's giving soft vibes. So if you're looking for a brand that gives you the most effortless soft shades to where it's easy to blend, El Maquillage is going to be there. Alright, so I think that's a total of 5 palettes, so I need to pick out one more palette because that's only 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, one more palette. Alright, and the last palette is going to be my Fenty Beauty eyeshadow palette. This is the #1 edition. I feel like I use #3 a lot, but I don't really use #1. And like I told y'all, this was going to be a neutral week because of the kids being in school, so I had to grab another neutral eyeshadow palette. But that is pretty much everything that I'm going to be using for this week. Let me know how you guys feel about the products that I picked out. What is going to be your favorite palette for me to come back and do a makeup look on? Definitely let me know that down in the comment section. And please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. That is definitely going to help push my video out in the algorithm of YouTube. So please make sure you guys are doing that as well. But on that note, you guys have a beautiful day. Stay blessed. Stay amazing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.